What is up, golf addicts? Welcome to the Tour Junkies podcast for the Memorial Tournament. And this is the DraftKings show. Thank you for joining us. We are presented by Fantasy National Golf Club, fantasynational.com. This is our resource for all the stats that you're going to hear tonight. Everything that me and my boy Caddy John, who you may have noticed is sitting right next to me, but not DB. And you know what? We've got a special episode for you today. But go to fantasynational.com/TJ. Use promo code Tour Junkies and you get 20% off. There is no better website to go to for any of your stats, or if you just want a little course history or some recent form or whatever it is, you can tailor it however you want to on fantasynational.com. I know Caddy John loves it, and I do too. So make sure you go over and check them out. Caddy John Rathouse, how are you this evening? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, this is fun. I mean, I have big shoes to fill. I know DB's out, kind of whatever he's doing, but thanks for having me on. This is great.
Yeah, we know. We appreciate you being on with us. DB's just, getting some sun somewhere, on vacation. Everybody deserves a vacation. By the way, speaking of sun, John, I got some sun this past weekend. I went out on the boat, went to the
Love it.
beach, and I got like the base layer, so like when you have your first outing into the sun for the year, you
Yep.
got to get that base layer of a tan. Okay. So you're going to get a little bit burned, even if you're putting on the sunblock and doing all those things. You need to get a little bit of a burn, just a little bit. Don't overdo it, but you got to get the base layer, and then that helps the rest of the summer go well for you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
absolutely. Yeah, I've got a lot of experience in the sun, and I'm pretty lucky. I happen to tan pretty well. We got a young daughter at home, and she inherited my tan skin as well. But you're right. It gets a little red initially. I mean, I haven't been caddying this year, and so I just started. It just started happening here in Omaha, Nebraska, about a month or two ago. So I
Yeah.
know what you're saying.
Make sure you throw on the sunblock though, kids, okay? Even though you got to get that base layer, all right, make sure you're protecting the skin. What are you drinking now? Because you were drinking the Surge. You were surging with the Surge White Claw. I'm still drinking a beer. What are you going with?
No, I'm still surging. There we are.
What's the
Number two.
flavor there? What's the flavor that you're going
This
with?
is natty lime, natural lime.
Okay,
But
I
I
like
mean,
that.
8% they give you on the Surge. I mean, we're normally 4.5, no laws with the clause. And at 8%, I mean, that's packing quite a punch for two shows here.
Yeah, well, that's let me tell you, that's good stuff. You're gonna, I go to Planet Tito's, you're going to Planet White Claw. So
No laws.
we love that. All right, let's get right into it. Now we did talk about the course a good bit on the betting show, so I don't want to get into it a ton, because if you want to, go to the first half of the betting show. But I'll some quick hitters here. All right, we're at Muirfield Village Golf Club this week. It is a par 72 over 7,500 yards. You've got bent grass fairways and greens, Kentucky bluegrass rough, which we have heard is going to be quite lush and a little bit thick. The greens here have a lot of undulation. They're going to get them quick, okay? They haven't had them quite as quick the last couple of years because they're sort of letting them grow in and getting them ready because they've done some renovations. But now they're going to be able to kind of give this course a little more of the teeth that it's typically has and how Jack Nicklaus likes to set it up. You've got water in play on 11 holes this week. This course typically ranks as one of the toughest on tour all year long. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm looking at stats like strokes gained approach, ball striking, around the green play. You got to be scrambling well around these greens, and then you got to be putting your ball well on these bent grass, quick greens. I'm going to look at par 5 scoring and then also bogey avoidance, okay? I like bogey avoidance on a tough course like this, so I think that's one to look at. Our past champs, Patrick Cantlay, last year, -13. We had John Rahm before that, -9. Cantlay before that at -19. And then Bryson DeChambeau, who Caddy John and I have a bet on. that could last all of less than 24 hours. I say he is going to play. Caddy John says he's not. We'll see what happens there. That is my quick course breakdown. How about you? Anything you want to add that I may have missed that you just some quick hitters that you want to talk about here?
Yeah, no, you hit all the main ones. It is a big boy golf course. Jack, world class player. His golf course, it's going to challenge you to have some strategy involved. Interesting that it doesn't play quite as long as the card. And out there, you're only hitting probably 7 drivers, I would say, give or take, out of the 14 holes where you would be possibly hitting drivers. So you get a little variety off the tee. Talk to some caddies there on Monday. The greens are already firm. The rough is already up. So it's setting up to be a challenging week. The one interesting factor this week that doesn't appear like it's going to be present, at least in the first 3 days, is wind. And so we've been playing in a lot of wind lately, and the guys are going to get a little bit of a break this week. The temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler, so maybe even more opportunities to make birdies. But I do agree with you. It's going to be a fast Memorial this year.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. We've got a great field again, as we typically do here at the Memorial, and we're only 2 weeks away from the U.S. Open. So a lot of these guys are going to want to get some good work in a tough field. Then they're probably going to take off next week. Okay, so DB picked a great week to take off because this week is a very important week, and then next week I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people that play, and I'm going to be out next week because I pick good weeks to be off. I pick weeks that really don't matter all that much.
Well, next week all you got to do is bet Corey Connors and just set your phone off, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Corey Connors week next week, or I don't know who the other. Oh, Adam Hadwin maybe. Let's make it Corey Connors week. But yeah,
let's just go ahead and predict next week, and then he doesn't even have to do the show. We'll just make it easy on DB.
Yeah, it's Corey Connors week.
All right, let's get into the top plays though for this week, and we're gonna start with the 9K and above range. Now, I don't know if we have the graphic for this because we don't have producer Sam. Producer Sam lost power. And, I don't know. I don't know where he lives, but apparently he lost power. Maybe they still have snow and stuff up there.
Yeah, he's up in the East. Hey, I understand. I'm in my parents' basement because my house, the Wi-Fi's out. They won't come till next. My Wi-Fi went out last Wednesday. I was out of town. I was at the Colonial for a few days doing some stuff for the Caddy Network. But now they say, oh, yeah, we'll be there next Thursday. That makes zero sense in the year 2022 that your internet provider will say, oh, yeah, we'll come out there next Thursday. That's reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to throw up a graphic there, but it actually was a betting graphic. So I'm trying. I'm trying to produce and do all this stuff, just me. Anyway, all right, let's talk about some 9K and above plays this week. I'm going to start with, listen, John.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time not playing Rory McIlroy. I just do. I do. And I love how he's been playing lately. I like him at 10-9. I mean, the form is, I don't even have to talk about the form, okay? Yeah. Just the last 2 weeks, 5th at the Wells Fargo, 8th at the PGA Championship. Really disappointed in what he did. I think day 2 really killed him in the PGA Championship because if you just take day 2 and make it like even par, 1 under, whatever, he's right there, possibly in the playoffs. So I think that let's not forget, and he had two triples, I think, both on par 3s. I could be wrong. At least one triple that I know of. So a lot of scoring that Roy just left on the table. So I think at 10-9. It's a good course fit for him. So 10-9, I like Rory a lot. I could get into his stats, but they're ridiculous. Across the board, he's top 10 in ball striking. He's top 15 in approach, top 10 in par 5 scoring, 5th in bogey avoidance, checks the box and strokes gained, putting and around the green plate. Literally everything about Rory sets up well for his game and this course this week. Next
I want to hear though, just briefly, because the around the green was the one that was concerning me about Rory, and I do agree he's playing well. I just want you to kind of say where you're more of a believer on the around the green part there.
Well, what I'm looking at, so I went on Fantasy National and I'm looking at his last 24 rounds, okay?
Okay.
And then I'm looking at where he is compared to the field, all right? So he's 28th, sorry, he's 21st in this field in strokes gained around the green over his last 24 rounds, okay? So if you're just looking at that, now you could do all kinds of things. You could make it more long-term around the green on Fantasy National, you can make it more short-term, whatever. I tend to look at, I like, somewhere around
In the
12 to
middle.
24
Yeah.
rounds, right in that middle. So that's what I'm looking at for his strokes gained around the green. And it doesn't look too bad, really. If you're looking at it versus this field, 21st isn't bad. I mean, everything is in, everything for him that of my top stats is in the top 30. So I
Yep.
like Rory here at 10-9. Next guy I'll go down to, and I know you and I both like him, especially when we talked about him on the betting show, Xander Schaffle at 10-2. I love him this week. He's another guy, looking at, checking boxes. He's top 25 in all of these: ball striking, approach, around the green, strokes gained putting on bent grass green, and he's third in bogey avoidance. The only thing where he may not check a box is par 5 scoring. I'm okay with that because I talked about this on the betting show. I think that, you know, a lot of these guys on these par fives, they're going to have to lay up on their second shot. So if they're dialed in with their wedges, they're still going to make some birdies on these par fives. Rory talked about this in his pressers last year. He said that, he was actually kind of disappointed in it. He thought that they should have these par five set up to be able to go at them more in two, but he said a lot of them just force you to lay up. And so that means you're really going to be needing to be dialed in with your wedges from short distances on these par fives. And if you think they're going to score on them, which I think they will, that may be an added layer of just a stat you look at besides what I'm talking about, your main stats, maybe proximity 100 to 125 yards or 100 yards and in, something like that. Maybe add that in with some things that you want to look at. But I do like Xander Schaffle this week at 10-2. Last guy I love, and I'll go down to the bottom, Shane Lowry at 9,000. I mean, the guy's just been playing fantastic. But, look, top 10 in all four of these: ball striking, approach, par five scoring, and bogey avoidance. The guy's he's typically been a good scrambler, actually, but that doesn't really show up well this week when you're looking at the last 24 rounds for him. But still, when you look at the form for Shane Lowry, just, everything about him. Now, the history here is it's kind of spotty, but he did finish top 10 last year after missing the cut in 2020. Made the cut in 2018 with the T52, and then a top 15 finish in 2017. So those are my three favorite GPP plays. My fade is Collin Morikawa at 10-4. Just not really liking where his game's at right now. He just has not been playing well. You look at his recent results, nothing really to, get you too excited about Collin Morikawa. I mean, I think his putting has been pretty bad from what I've seen. I've watched a lot of them in the last, several tournaments because I had a lot of it at the PGA Championship. He couldn't make a damn thing, couldn't make anything with his putter. You look at, his last three finishes: 26th at the Heritage, 55th at the PGA Championship, 40th last week. There's a lot of things about Morikawa's game that just aren't that great right now. I mean, he's still going to check the boxes in ball striking and those kind of things, but not at all in strokes gained around the green. 87th in the field. He's 85th and putting on bent grass greens. I feel like if this was like a generalized putting stat, he'd be like 150th in the field. Not just looking at bent grass greens. So Collin Morikawa is the fade. You know what? My cash play is a guy that you don't like this week.
Jordan Spieth?
Jordan Spieth is the cash play. Now, I wrote this down before we even did the betting show, so you kind of started selling me a little bit about Jordan Spieth not being great this week. So I may have to pivot off of that because I did have him written. I did have him written down as a cash play, and I got to go with it because I do like the way Spieth's been playing lately. But you made some pretty good arguments for why you might not want to play Spieth. So I'll let you talk about those and then also give your favorite plays here in this 9K range and above.
Well, just as far as Spieth, I think I think he probably will be fairly popular this week because he's been playing so well. His name jumps off the page. This is going to be his fourth week playing in a row. He's traveling out of kind of the Texas, Oklahoma area, a lot of comforts. He has had some decent finishes here in the past. Um, Obviously, the putter is not at an elite level right now, and he could turn on at any point, but he's missing these short putts just time and time. I mean, they're just happening every week. And, on a outright market, maybe it makes even more sense to fade him this week versus like, hey, I can get some value on him in a DraftKings setting because I think he's still going to play well. So I understand what you're saying there. I can also see it being an easy guy to pivot away from because his ownership level is going to be pretty high. So, I could see it both ways there on that. Rory McIlroy, I took a good hard look at Rory. I like that call. His ball flight, isn't necessarily that cut that we always see, but he's got a pretty darn straight ball flight. It's not quite as sweeping as it used to be. So, and I was really impressed at the PGA. I wasn't high on him going into that because I felt like he was going to have a lot more short irons in, and those greens were not too deep, and he wasn't good. His accuracy with those shorter clubs wasn't being good, and it held up fine. So he is in really good form right now. A little inside nugget: his caddy Harry Diamond is expecting a baby next week. I think this is going to be his last week on the bag, and then he's going to come back for the U.S. Open. Yours truly was trying to wedge his way in there as like a deep backup for Rory at the U.S. Open, but maybe he's going to send his caddy off to baby number 2 with a win. So I don't mind that. I'm high on Xander Schaffle like you are too, and at 10-2, like this week, Rahm not in as good a form. Cantlay loves it here, not very consistent. Colin Morikawa, you just illustrated that. So now we're 5 down after Rory, and you get Xander, who's had 3 straight top 15 finishes here, is playing really well, and is still hungry for a win. Like his boy Patrick's won here. He had to win earlier this year in the team event. So I think there's a lot of drive for Xander to get one done this week. And I could see him up there with Jack on the podium. I like Shane Lowry as well. I think anytime around here, you got to be high on Hideki Matsuyama. He's going off at 9,200, which is kind of cheap for a guy that's been as consistent as he had. We thought he was maybe injured a couple weeks ago, and he comes back and pops him with a third place in like a birdie fest in Dallas. And then he's also been able to play well in these kind of more big boy tournaments. He's won this thing before. So I think there's a lot to like about Hideki. And then Matt Fitzpatrick has just been playing really well. He's just right below him at 9,100. Great veteran caddy on the bag. And he's sponsored by Workday this week. He's in good form. So I like Fitzpatrick. A couple guys that I'm just curious, maybe not to deviate too far, but what are you going to do with Cam Smith this week? And Victor Hovland is another one where it's like, I could see Victor playing well. He hasn't been super consistent. He's terrible around the greens, and we know that around the green is important this week. But Cam Smith in particular, I'm interested in because he's never played well here. But the Cam Smith that's coming into the tournament this week is a totally different version than the one that's played here in the past.
I think those are two perfect players to bring up because I think a lot of the guys that we're probably talking about, if you're listening to other shows, they're probably the same guys that people are talking about because they're the guys that we think they're popping for sure. They've played well here. I think Victor Hovland and Cam Smith are the two where if you're kind of getting later in the week and the ownership's looking a little bit low on those two guys, especially Cam. If you're getting Cam Smith at low ownership, I know people like to look at history, and I do too. He doesn't have a great history here. But if you're getting Cam Smith low owned and you're getting a Victor Hovland low owned, then I think you kind of have to jump on him this week. Okay. Another good reason, by the way, jump in the Nut Hut. Okay. Caddy John is in the Nut Hut. You got to get in the Nut Hut. I need to kind of find this graphic because I need you people to go in to our Nut Hut chat and just jump in there and see what we have to offer because it is absolutely fantastic. Go to tourjunkies.com and look for the chat. You'll find it. TourJunkies.com. Look for the chat. Get in the Nut Hut. There's a lot of good information. Caddy John gets in there and gives his sort of course breakdown in the Caddy channel. And these are the kind of things that you learn later in the week when you get in the Nut Hut. It's like, our guys like Cam Smith, showing some form. Are we getting some good caddy knowledge from these guys? Are they looking good out there? Victor Hovland, whatever else. So I think that, but there are two guys right there that I think we could get some definite leverage on, depending on what they're looking like. So I like that. All right, we got to move into the 8K range, John. But before we do that, let's talk about coffee. Okay,
Yeah.
I love coffee. I think you like coffee, right?
I do. I start every morning, got a cup, and I like it at home too. I don't get to pay. I paid $5 today at Starbucks. It was a road game. It was no good.
By the way, I'm not a Starbucks fan.
Yeah, I'm not really either.
I'm kind of anti-Starbucks, and I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority, but you know what I love is Front Nine coffee. Okay, yeah. We love golf. We love coffee. We just wish we could do both every day. But the Front Nine coffee is fantastic. It is a small batch artisan coffee, roasted daily and ground to order for you. Their coffee doesn't just sit on a shelf in a store like a grocery store, just losing its flavor, wasting away, okay? It's shipped quickly to your doorstep, so you're always ready to tee it up. Grounds for golfers. Front9coffee.com. These beans are imported from the finest coffee growing regions around the world and roasted just around the corner in South Carolina. Grounds for you, so you can choose the perfect grind for your coffee routine. I like whole beans. Okay, some people like them already ground up. I got a fancy coffee maker. All right, got a fancy one. I mean, I can't. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's just whatever. Anyway, they got great flavors. They got Match Play, which is a roasted, smooth, and bold for that 3-2 closeout victory. They got Pick It Up Pecan or Pecan. I say pecan. I don't know. Some people like to say pecan.
Pecan. I say pecan.
You got Lauderdale Light Roast, Captain's.
I like that one.
Captain's Choice Kahlua Caramel. That's good. Do you say caramel? I don't know if I can stand people that say caramel. I don't know.
No, I say, well, I'll say caramel, but I'll say caramel, right? So like if you're having that Halloween candy, it's a caramel. But if you're talking about what the other, it's caramel.
Yeah, it's caramel as far as I'm concerned. All right. Yeah. Then you also got the
a buddy of mine, he's trying to name his baby. And he told me, he's a caddy buddy, and he said, we conceived her in at Pebble Beach. And I said, and he was looking for a middle name. And I said, how about Carmel? And they went with it.
That's fantastic. That's a beautiful place. I've never been there, but it looks like a beautiful place.
Dirty Dan got a win with Vaughn Taylor there.
Oh, sweet. Yes. Vaughn Taylor, Augusta. I know
Old
Vaughn.
School. Great guy.
Vaughn. Great dude. All right. You got the fried egg breakfast blend too. Medium and dark roast. Perfect for early mornings. Eggs and bacon are not included though. All right. So head over to front9coffee.com. Use the code TJ10. That's TJ10 for 10% off your order every single time. Order once, TJ10, 10% off. Order twice, TJ10, 10% off. 3, 4, 5. Every single time you get 10% off. All right. John, let's move into the 8K range. How about I let you start the 8K range? We got, obviously, usually we have less players in here. So give me 2 of your favorite sort of GPP plays, a fade and a cash play here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think if you can get this range right this week, you could win your games. It's a very risky section as far as I'm concerned. I will say one that I do like that's maybe going to fly a little under the radar is Sung Jae Im at 8,900. And he hasn't played great here in the past, but the couple times that he's come in, it's been weird parts of the schedule. Maybe his form hasn't been as good. This course makes sense for him. I saw him hit some shots last week at the Colonial. He was off with the COVID there for the PGA. It was unfortunate. I think he's hungry. He's rested, which is, not as usual for Sung Jae. So I like Sung Jae this week at 8,900. We talked about Cam Young and Davis Riley on the betting show. I mean, yeah, if you hit them, you're you're doing well. They could be popular too. I think Max Homa at 8,700 makes some sense too. This course isn't a heck of a lot different, to be honest, than where he won there, the TPC. Now the conditions this week are going to be not quite as difficult, but he's kind of figured out that bent grass putting as of late. It's only his third week in a row. He's in good form. He's got this motivation to start picking off these bigger tournaments. So I like Max at 8,700. And that's kind of about it. If I'm looking at a fade, Abe Answer at 8,200. I mean, I just don't think he has the ball flight. His form's not great right now, but I don't think he really has a great ball flight for this golf course. Hits it a little bit lower, obviously not as far. So that's kind of an easy fade for me. Cash play. Geez, you caught me off guard a little bit there. I'll toss it back to you, and maybe somebody will come to mind. But I want to hear your thoughts in this section because there's a lot of risk reward here, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I got a few here that I do kind of like here. I'm with you on Max Homa at 8,700. I think that he's a great play here. He's a guy that just fits this course. Has been playing absolutely fantastic lately. Checks a lot of boxes when it comes to approach, top 5, ball striking, top 5, 21st in par 5 scoring, top 20 in bogey avoidance. So big fan of Max Homa. I think that I know now, unless somebody's going to tell me that he withdrew, but I'm gonna continue to say I think Mito Pereira is a good DFS play this week. Now, I actually think the way he bounced back after what happened at the PGA Championship to finish the way he did the following week at the Charles Schwab on another tough golf course. We get another tough golf course this week. He's been playing really well. Checks a ton of boxes, top 10 in ball striking and approach, top 10 in bogey avoidance. He's 13th in the field in par 5 scoring. So I think you kind of ride the hot hand with Mito at 8,000. So I like Homa and Mito. And if I'm going to play guys let's just say I want to try to somehow fit Rory and Xander in which I talked about up top, I got to get cheaper with a lot of these guys. I may not be able to fit Rory and Xander, but maybe like Rory and Shane Lowry and then Mito or Homa or something like that, I think could be a good start to your lineup build. I like Joaquin Niemann and Cash. I know you kind of differ a little bit from that with Niemann. And maybe I'm just all about some Chileans. I'm just loving Chileans. But yeah. I like the way Niemann has just been playing this year, and he doesn't really have great course history here. I get that, missed the cut the last 2 years. Did have a T27 in 2019 and a T6 in 2018. Course was a lot different then, but still, I think that just the way he's played this year, the way he can work his ball flight and everything else, I think Joaquin Niemann is a good, just sort of safe, cash play. He makes a lot of cuts. He may not win, but he does make a lot of cuts.
Yeah, I will make you feel better about your Chilean picks both ways. That's a great point that you make about Mito. I mean, should have won the PGA Championship, didn't finish it off, and then he bounced back last week. No worries. Hey, I'm back in this next tournament and made himself present. The only thing I was concerned about him was the putting, and he putted awesome at Southern Hills on bent grass. The greens are a lot slower than they're going to be this week. That's my concern with him. But an elite ball striker, one of the top 10, maybe the top 5 ball strikers in this field, and you're going to need that this week. Great caddy on the bag. And then with Niemann, I was a little bit concerned. I feel like sometimes he's a little too aggressive. And he's got Gary Matthews on the bag, Sergio Garcia's former caddy, great looper. They started up last fall, and, you've seen what he's done this year. Winner at Riviera, another course that requires some discipline. So maybe the version of Niemann coming to this time around at the Memorial is kind of a little bit more seasoned, and he's not going to take on pins when he doesn't need to. And it's a good course because it's bent grass. And I think we like Niemann on bent grass.
Yeah, no, I agree there. Okay, so my fade is going to be Daniel Berger, and I think Berger is tough to fade anytime because he's a fantastic golfer. I mean, he's world class. He was T23 last week at the Charles Schwab, missed a cut at the PGA Championship. There's just, to me, not a whole lot, though, to get excited about Berger. And maybe, as I get down, later in the week, and if he's lower owned and whatever else, I may pivot off of that. He doesn't play this tournament very much. The last time he played here was 2020, and he missed the cut. I don't know when he played it. Like, my information goes back to 2017. He has not played it. He's played it once in the last 5 years.
Yeah, 3 times in his career.
Yeah. So Berger to me is a fade. Now, I know you have some insight on him and his caddy and everything else, but what do you think about that? What do you think about Berger as a fade here?
Yeah. The only thing I was saying where I maybe would like him this week, 2 things. One, he hits a cut. And the second one is that, maybe that energy of having a new caddy on the bag, changing it up. And when he's come here in the past, maybe the timing hasn't been right. But he thrives on Bermuda grass, not bent grass. And he also has one of the lowest ball flights on tour. As good of an iron player as he is, this golf course requires some height coming into these greens. And if it's going to be firm this week, it's the greens, it might not be the best setup for him. Maybe that's a reason why he doesn't play as well here. And so I have no problem fading Berger. I think he's a guy to keep an eye on as the summer unfolds, though, for sure. Like, kind of getting back to more aggressive, making more birdies like we know he can.
Yeah. All right. Now, before we get into the 7K plays, I got to do an ad read. All right. Now, this ad read is for I Trust Capital. Did you know that you could invest in crypto through your retirement account? I didn't even know that. That's right. I Trust Capital allows you to invest in over 24 of the most popular cryptocurrencies, and unlike the stock market, you can buy and sell 24 hours a day. I've noticed that about crypto. You can wake up in the middle of the damn night and be like, you know what? I want to buy some crypto. There's no 9:30 a.m. when the market opens, 4 o'clock when it closes. Like, it's open all the time. You can buy some crypto. Anytime you want to buy crypto, you can buy it. All right. Anyway. All right.
I bet the crypto market's popping more in the late night hours than it is during the day, probably.
Yeah, exactly. With I Trust Capital, you also get the tax benefits of a retirement account while investing in crypto. Sign up today and receive $100 funding bonus when you open and fund an account. Visit itrustcapital.com to start investing today. That is itrustcapital.com. And I don't see on this ad copy where there's any kind of code.
You got a deal?
So, whatever. That's what they gave me.
All right, that's cool. Well, yeah, but that's a good promo for them. Go to and you guys will pick it up again next week.
David's going to be chiming in it says it on the back page of the third line that you need to put in TJ code. Anyway, all right, let's move on to the 7K range. There's a lot of good plays in here. I love this. I love this range, and this is where the money's made. We always talk about this. This is where the money's made almost every week in DFS, and I'm going to start. Okay. And you know how I'm going to start? I'm going to start. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm going to be stealing one of your guys. Okay. And then you're going to have to just adjust. You're going to have to adjust.
I did that.
John.
I did that in the 9K range. I adjusted on the fly like any good caddy would. You got to be able to improvise.
So that's what you got to do. But I'm going to start with Patrick Reed at the top at 7,900. I like Patrick Reed. I like what he's been doing. We talked about him on the betting show. He kind of went back to an old driver, I think, or he switched drivers, which I like. I like when they do those kind of things and then they play well, which is what he did. He switched it up, played well last week. I like that. He has a good history here. Top 5, 5th place finish last year, T10 the year before that. So obviously, this is a course where he feels comfortable on. You look at the stats for Patrick Reed. I mean, He's certainly going to check some boxes here. Now, obviously, we know he's a great scrambler. He always has been, but he's 15th in the field in putting on bent grass greens. I like that about him. And then, you just look at the tournament history. That is, well, I mentioned that already. But look, like recent results. I mean, 7th last week, 34th at the PGA. Okay. His game is gradually getting better. I like that. So Patrick Reed at 7,900. I like. Next guy. Here's where I'm stealing him from you. Taking him from you. Alex Noren at 7,500. I like Alex Noren. Yeah. Now you mentioned he putts well on bent grass greens. He's a guy that he killed a lot of people at the PGA Championship, right? I mean, a lot of people played Alex Noren, and he even had, I think, the good weather draw. But I'm going back to him. I'm hoping maybe we get a little bit lower ownership from him than we, typically would. You look at the history here. T13 last year, missed a cut in 2020, T41 the year before that. His recent results. Now, that missed cut really killed people at the PGA Championship, but T12 at the AT&T Byron Nelson before that. Now, let's get into some stats for Alex Noren. He is second in the field in putting on bent grass greens. That came from the stats that I looked up through Fantasy National, but it also came from Caddy John's head because he already knew that Alex Noren putts extremely well on bent grass greens and loves them. Outside of that, though, top 3 stats that I love, he's 4th in par 5 scoring, top 20 in strokes gained approach, top 30 in ball striking. So Alex Noren at 7,500, I will also play. Another guy that I like in here, I'm going to play Ricky Fowler. I did, I kind of brushed on him in the betting show, but Ricky's playing well. I mean, his game is finally coming around. He's not going to check a whole lot of boxes other than par 5 scoring. He is scrambling well in his last 24 rounds. He's top 30 there. He's top 10 in putting on bent grass greens over his last 24 rounds. But let's just look at his recent results. All right. He's made his last 3 cuts, with 2 of those being top 25 finishes. If you can get a top 25 finish out of a guy at 7,200 on DraftKings, you're doing really well. Okay. Your lineup is going to be doing well. He is performing for you there. Okay. So I like what Ricky Fowler is doing. And then let's just go with his tournament history. It's actually, even though the last few years have been so bad for Ricky Fowler, 11th here in 2021. Okay. Missed the cut in 2020, but a T14 in 2019, top 10 in both 2018 and 2017. I think Ricky Fowler makes a lot of sense here at 7,200, and I will play him. And then my cash play, John, is Matt Kutcher at 7,800. Cooch, let's stop ignoring Kutcher. All right. I do not need him to win. I don't care. But the guy's making cuts. He's made 6 straight cuts. He's made 12 of 15 cuts this year. Okay. So the guy is, you just can't sit there and say, the old man is not playing and golfing his ball. Okay. Because he is. And he's got a good history here too. So I think that, if you look at Matt Kutcher, the way he's playing, making cuts, I love him here at 7,800. And then he's going to check a lot of boxes too. By the way, he's number 1 in the field in strokes gained around the green, 4th in bogey avoidance, top 40 in putting on bent, top 40 in par 5 scoring. I think Cooch is a great play. I like him in cash. So there you go. That is the 7K range for me. I'm sure you got some other ones here, but what do you think on that?
I got one that I'll steal away from you, but I love the Reed call. I think he's, like I said, I mentioned on the betting show, I saw him last week at Colonial. He's lost some weight. Like, he looks fit, ready to go. I love the driver change that that was really, he was losing so much distance, and he can get it done around the greens here. I like your Patrick Reed call. Noren, yeah, I love Noren this week. He hits a cut too. Jack hits a cut. I like Noren. And then your Ricky Fowler call, like, yeah, I mean, his course history here is undeniable. He's motivated. I saw him last week as well. Like, he doesn't quite, and I don't know if it's like because you look at him and you go, I know you're not playing well. Like, do you carry yourself the same way? Like, he doesn't quite have that, look about him that he used to, but I think he can get it back as well. So he's going to love the familiarity around here this week. Looking at some other plays, though, Chris Kirk at 7,700, I think makes a ton of sense. Super consistent. I think you can make a good argument for him being a solid cash play. I talked on the betting show about how he's got a caddy change here recently, settled in with Don Cooper, Lucas Glover's longtime caddy, and has been playing awesome as of late. Not a flashy guy, but you don't need to be flashy this week. If he gets a hot putter, I could easily see him being in the mix on Sunday. I think Siwoo Kim, take a look at his ownership level, but if it's not very high compared to other guys in this range, I think there's a ton of value there on Siwoo Kim. I mean, made a ton of cuts this year, right? We know he can win in big spots. Hasn't been playing bad. His iron game last week was really good. It's always just kind of his attitude more than anything. So I like Siwoo Kim. And then further down the list, like, to me, I think under the radar sneaky is Cam Davis. Played well at the PGA. I think he had a top 10 there. Yeah, he finished 7th last week at Charles Schwab, made the cut at the PGA. He had a 3rd at the Heritage. He plays the par 5 as well, really long player. So I like Cam Davis. And I think you need to take a look at Lahiri, although I'm not as keen on Lahiri given the fact that the elements aren't going to be as present. But, man, he's been playing really well this year as well. So I like him. And as far as a fade, I don't know. Anybody's got him on his radar. I'm going to fade Lucas Hebert because there's no wind this week, and he likes it when it's windy. And so I'm out on Lucas. Brian Harmon has just screwed me so much this year. And is it a case where it's like you get so pissed off at the guy that you miss out the week that he finally performs? But I don't know if I have I'm not worried about missing out on Harmon this week.
Yeah. Another guy that I don't ever get right is Aaron Wise. So I'm going to fade Aaron Wise. And I think Aaron Wise could play fine here.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's gonna have some ownership. He's played fairly well here. He had a top 10 last year, but missed a cut two times before that.
Intriguing though. He's putting better than he has in a long time. He's got the long broomstick. I think it's Casey Martin's old putter, actually, which is intriguing. I was thinking with him though, like, that's interesting to hear that they finished top 10 last year. Like, some of these guys that are like, if you're a poor putter and they put you on fast greens, that's not a good combination, because all of a sudden every mistake you make gets magnified. And so that would be one of the reasons I wouldn't be
90th in the field in putting on bent grass greens.
Right.
So I'll go ahead and just say Aaron Wise is my fate.
All
right. Listen, by the way, I don't know if you're doing prize picks much, John, but prize picks,
I'm intrigued by it. And I'll tell you what, as a caddy that's seen a lot of these golf courses and know the pin locations on a certain day and all that, I'm intrigued by prize. I think it's great. And you guys have been killing it.
We've been killing it on prize picks, especially in the Nut Hut. We've got a prize picks channel. We give plays out. I have the Fantasy Golf Sommelier. You need to go check out prizepicks.com. Listen, we have a link. There'll be a link in the description of this show on YouTube. Go in there, click our link. I think the promo code is TJ. Sign up. It's fantastic. I'm telling you, it is a great way to play. And you know what? When all your DFS lineups are dead on Friday, you can play Saturday and Sunday on Prize Picks, and you will love it. I have not heard one person since we've been talking about Prize Picks tell us that they don't like it. Because it's just, I mean, look, all we're doing is we're wanting overs and unders. That's all we're trying to do. We're making those plays. All right, let's get into the 6K range. And I'm going to start with Kevin Strillman. By the way, real quick, Little plug. Tortees. Tortee Pro. We did some stuff with these guys. They're out of Australia. All right. And if you notice, like, I'm going to open this one. If I can figure out.
Let's see this technology.
Let me see if I can get into this damn thing. All right. I'm going to have to rip it out. All right. Look at this tee. All right. First off, it says Boom on it. You can't even see that. It says Boom. They got these like little perforated. You see that?
Yeah.
Like these bumps on the top. And I mean, it's a strong tee. And let me tell you this. Now, you're gonna love this, John. This tee adds 12 yards to your game.
No way.
12 yards. So the next guy I'm going to talk about in the 6K range could use this tee. All right. Here's another thing. This tee also can be a divot repair tool and a groove cleaner.
Yeah, I believe the groove cleaner.
Now, could every tee that you have do the same thing? Yes, but they don't put it on the back on the packaging. But
No.
Tortee does. Tortee does. All right.
Is that a heavy duty plastic? Is that what you have there?
Yeah, heavy duty plastic with like this rubber stuff on. And that's, by the way, that's our logo on the top. You can't
I need some of those. I could use 12 yards. I could use 6.
Yeah, this thing adds 12 yards to your game. And control, distance and control. Look at it. It says it on the bag. Anyway, check out Tortees. They're great. All right, here's who I think could use Tortee. Kevin Strillman.
Yeah.
Kevin Strillman could use a little bit of Tortee, just a little bit of extra distance. But I like him this week. He has a great history here. He's made the cut the last 5 years in a row. And he's got some good finishes in here when you look at that. He's not just making cuts. He's actually got finishes. He's got 3 finishes inside the top 15 in the last 5 years. So I think Kevin Strillman at 6,800 is a good play there. Another guy, Brennan Steele, also has made the cut 4 of the last 5 years, and he's only played it 4 times. So there was 1 year where he didn't play it. With a top 15 in there, a T37 last year. Brennan Steele is a guy that DB hates his swing, but we don't care about what your swing looks like as long as you have good finishes and you can play golf, which Brennan Steele can do. Top 10. If you had told me that Brennan Steele had a top 10 at the PGA Championship, I would not have believed you. But I see it. It says it right there in front of me. I can see that. So Brennan Steele there at 6,600. All right, we're going to give you. I'm giving you a top 10 guy in the PGA Championship for 6,600, and he's going to check boxes. 11th in the field in ball striking, top 30 in strokes gained approach. Okay, putts fairly decent, I think. On no, he doesn't putt well on bent grass greens,
but he putts well here.
See, there you go.
He putts well here, dude. It's
Add in.
Week.
Preach to me some more, a little bit about Brendan Steele.
I love some Steele this week. Yeah, I'd take his golf swing in a heartbeat. No, you're spot on Brendan Steele. That's like my favorite play in the 6K range, and it doesn't make sense on face value. But one thing I do like about him compared to like another guy that I'm going to mention is that with Steele, you're getting a reliable ball striker, right? Which is a big difference maker versus a guy that sometimes he catches it hot or not, and he has to rely on a hot putter. Like, Steele is going to be in the fairway on the green more than most of these guys. And if he likes to putt well here, I'm sold. So, and the 9th at the PGA, I mean, that's icing on the cake.
Yeah, no, I'm with you for sure. Another guy real quick, David Lipsky, I think, makes a little bit of a sense here. He's top 20 in the field in approach and par 5 scoring. He's a guy that's had a pretty solid year. So I like David Lipsky. Other than that, there's not, I'm a Lucas Glover fan. He's made the cut 5 straight years here. This is a Lucas Glover course, good ball strikers course. We know he's always going to struggle with the putter, but still, I think for 6,500 for Lucas Glover and 5 straight cuts here, and he's actually playing, fairly decent lately. I think, Lucas Glover certainly makes some sense. You look at his last 4 events, T48 at the Heritage, did miss a cut at the Wells Fargo, top 25 at the PGA Championship, T40 at Charles Schwab. You're getting a guy, again, 6,500, making cuts, has a great course history here. I like Lucas Glover. So that's pretty much about it for me here in the 6K range.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like all those guys you listed. I think Scott Stallings, he's played well here before. You have to go a little bit deeper on his course history to find a top 10, but he's done it. And then he qualified in the U.S. Open Monday of Colonial, went out and was very relevant late in the back nine at that tournament. I like Scott Stallings at 6,900. I think Patrick Rogers at 6,800, which is a guy, that's who I was kind of maybe going to go opposite with Brennan Steele. Like Patrick Rogers, really good putter, or a better putter than Brennan Steele, and has made a lot of cuts here before. Not a ton of great noise, but he's played well here. This is a big boy golf course. He's played well. And his ball striking is coming around. I mean, he's gained in the positive 3 weeks in a row now. I mentioned the new caddy brought on board, veteran Shane Joel. And so I like Patrick Rogers. And then a little bit further down, there's Steele. I mean, it's 6,600. What a steal on Steele. Where else are we down here? Any further? I mean, it gets thin fast. Yeah. No, that's it. That's it for me. That really stands out. Steele is the steal.
Okay. All right. Well, I like it. Now listen. Now we have to do our 2-minute lineup. All right. This is the 2-minute men. I'm gonna do everything here. I'm gonna try to keep up with it. I'm gonna run the timer. I'm gonna do all of it. And,
okay.
But I'm gonna start us off somewhere where I think we can really have a good lineup to work with. So
okay.
let me know when you're ready, and then I'll get going.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my phone here with the thing, so I can bounce around. I've heard you guys do this before.
Okay.
I'm in on it. You start us off.
All right, here we go. I'm going to start the timer, and I think we start immediately off with Brendan Steele. Let's go ahead and put Brendan Steele in our lineup.
Gives you a lot of cash to work with.
All right, so there we go. We got a lot of cash to work with. All right, next, who do you think? Who are you thinking? You can go up top. You can go in the middle. Where are you thinking?
Well, I think we're both high on Xander Schaffle. I mean, he's going to save you some money. I know, unless you're thinking you need to have Rory on your team, I think Xander is a good play there.
All right, let's go with Xander. Then we have 8,300 left. I am a big fan of your, from a GPP standpoint. I like Sungjae.
Okay.
I think let's go Sungjae there, and then that drops us down to 8,100. So where are you thinking we can go in the 7K range?
I think we need to at least get 2 out of the 7K.
Yeah.
So, man, we like Patrick Reed. We like Chris Kirk. We like Noren. We should probably get on Noren at 7,500.
Let's go Noren, and then what do you think from there? So 8,400 left. We got 8,400 and 2 players left.
Well, if we went to Shane Lowry, that would leave us with 78. But we need to leave some. I mean, we could go Shane Lowry and Chris Kirk.
Yes. I like either Shane Lowry and Chris Kirk. Let's just do that. Let's do that.
I mean, we're done in record time. Does that leave $100? Is that not enough money on the table?
No, I think it's plenty. I think it's plenty for a week like this. 18 seconds left. We're done.
All right. Wait, read it off to me, though. I love it. I want to hear this.
So here is the 2-minute lineup. Let me hang on. Let me get in here. Kirk. All right, leaving $100 on the table. We have Sungjae M. We have Chris Kirk. We have Shane Lowry. We have Alex Noren. We have Xander Schaffle, and we have Brendan Steele.
Winner.
Love it. I hate to say this for DB, but this is my favorite 2-minute lineup we've ever done.
No way. Well, let's do it. I mean, I'm a single entry guy, so I might just play this. Unless you're going to play it too, I'm going to go play this in the single entry this week, and then we'll split the winnings.
Love it. Let's do it. All right, John, I appreciate you being on with me. It's been fantastic. I'm looking forward to a great week. I know we're going to see you in the Nut Hut later. Everybody's got to get into the Nut Hut. make sure you like this video on YouTube. The comment that I'm going to ask you to do is just how great Caddy John and I are and how much you appreciate what we did for you this week with DB being out on vacation. Maybe comment on what you think DB does on vacation on the beach. Does DB read a book? Does he build sandcastles? Does DB swim in the ocean with shoes on? Like, do you think he wears his shoes in the ocean? I don't know. Like, some people may do that because in the South Carolina oceans you can't see the water, and the beach you can't see what's underneath you. Anyway, all right. Well, that's all I got. Good luck this week, everybody, at the Memorial. Thank you, Caddy John.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yep. See ya. Out.